All right, and good morning, pro traders. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, depending on where you're joining us from in the world. This is your host, Christopher Guzman, joining you for another KickStart Pro morning session live. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd of April, 2020. Now, before we get started, let's go ahead and do a quick audio and visual check. If you can hear my voice and see my screen without issue, please do let me know with a Y or a yes in your chat box. All right, fantastic. Fantastic. Good morning, Anthony. Morning, John. Hey, Eric, good to see you in here. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, good morning. Okay, fantastic. Right, so let's go ahead and jump right in. First of all, straight away on the pound dollar. Okay, not only did we get the sell-off back to support in that channel I was talking to you about on Monday, but yesterday we ended up continuing to sell off, and it looks as though there's a good potential here that the market may try to make a play back for that unfulfilled sub 38.2 down at 118.07. Now, I said may, I didn't say will, right? It may make a play back down for that unfulfilled sub 38.2. The signal this morning appears to be a buy, however. Okay, so we're in the buy zone out in the field, and down on the MACD, we're also in the buy zone and getting a buy signal. Overall, the capital AB boundary is still down, of course, and we do have a maximum 69.4% retracement. Of course, you know, that furthers my belief, as it were, in the market moving down to at least 118.07, because my 144 target here is at 117.57. So it's actually just beyond, about 50 pips beyond that unfulfilled sub 38.2. So you got a bit of convergence there between the two. Now, of course, the market does not ever move in straight lines. We know this. And so it's natural for a buy signal to occur here, simply, you know, for the fact that this has been in such a sell-off for a little while, right? So it's due a pullback, basically. And that's exactly what we're seeing as potentially happening. Now, a couple of things here. First of all, there's a beautiful spinning top boundary here. So let me just go ahead and point that out to you. It's right here. It's this beautiful spinning top boundary. Now, we know, based on the Ultimate Forex Trading course, that anytime we see a spinning top boundary, it's a sign of consolidation. And so, of course, that's exactly what we're seeing happening. Now, as the market heads back inside of the spinning top boundary range, you know, we're at support. We have room to resistance, but that is, in fact, resistance right there. Okay, so that's point number one. Point number two is just that if I were to take a counter trend line here and plug it in, right, what do we see? Well, we see yet another level of resistance in the way of this buy signal, right? So you have not one, but two levels of resistance, pretty solid levels of resistance in the way of this buy signal. That's not going to be enough necessarily to put me off it, but it is enough to give me pause, right? It is enough to give me pause, because the other thing we're seeing here is, of course, the fact that we're in a nice little flagpole pennant. And we know that the market, typically speaking, the market likes to move in the direction of the previous move prior to the flagpole pennant forming. Okay, and so there is a buy signal there. I just want to be cautious. I mean, you know, as it stands, the buy signal isn't confirmed yet, but there's a buy signal in the works, is what I mean, right? There's a buy signal in the works. And I just want to be, you know, ultra careful here because there is a good amount of resistance I can see clearly, you know, right by a potential entry point. So I'm going to hold off on that. I'm going to come back and look at it again. Let's have a look elsewhere and see what's going on. So first of all, I want to get a quick update on the pound CAD. Let's take a look. Okay, and so on this pound CAD, same deal, right? I called a sell on Monday. It sold off beautifully, went to the target, ultimately came back, right? Came back to here, to resistance, found resistance, and then sold off in a big way even further. And in the process, it's actually broken 2 additional trend lines here. So this first one, okay, this first one is a more aggressive inner trend line. It's not actually, you know, relevant now at this point, however, because this is my highest high in this uptrend move, right? This is my highest high, not this one. And so all of these that were drawn in previously, these are no longer relevant, okay? Don't need them. So I'm going to get rid of them. Now, I said to you on Monday, just as I say every day, right? Based again on the ultimate course, we know that every time the market breaks a trend line, it tends to move to a secondary trend line. And that's exactly what's happened, right? So it's broken this trend line, and it's ultimately made its way back and finally found support by way of the trend line. It just took a little while to get there, but it did in fact get there. Okay, it did in fact get there, and if you look, it broke the trend line. So this is now broken, but what's it done since, right? It came back for the test. The test ultimately ended up putting the market back on the right side of this trend line, and ever since it's acted as support, right? I mean, you've had a couple of little breaks to the downside again, but ultimately it's acted as support each and every time. Hence why we're still on this side of it. Now this trend line here, because we've created the new lower low, this trend line needs to be updated. And so, you know, there's plenty of upside potential here, considering all the room without resistance by way of a trend line. Now, that doesn't mean there's no resistance. We do have this resistance level here, which we're actually trading at. That's where I'm seeing the potential sell signal coming into play, right? Because you have a situation where you've got past resistance becoming future support, right? Becoming future support, becoming future resistance again. Okay, past resistance. All right, past resistance becoming future support. Everybody see that? Becoming future resistance again. Now that we've broken back to the downside. Okay, and so now this is resistance, and right at resistance, you can see the market attempting to make its move to break, but ultimately, as soon as it tapped this level, that was it, game over. It started to turn around again. Right, and so now I'm potentially getting a sell signal here. I don't have one just yet. Now there's another thing in here that I'm looking at, and it's of course a counter trend line, and you can see that is now in the process of breaking. You know, it's only just now starting to break. So I do see a potential sell signal on pound CAD. Couple of issues. We got support right there that I've got to watch out for. We're in the buy zone. And of course, there's that little chestnut that the signal hasn't actually happened yet. It's just a hunch as to what could happen, right? So I'm going to keep an eye on pound CAD though, because there is a potential sell forming there that I can see. On pound yen and pound Swiss, it looks like it's going the way of the dollar. So we've actually got a clean break right in half on this chart. If you take a look, pound yen, pound dollar, pound Swiss, all looking like buys. Pound Aussie, pound CAD, and pound Kiwi all looking like sells. You see, so we've got a nice little split right down the middle of the screen. I'm going to look at pound yen first. Now, the reason I'm not really looking at pound Aussie just yet is because we don't, first of all, we don't yet have a signal. We're also in the wrong zone. In pound CAD, we don't yet have the signal, but we're certainly closer than we are on pound Aussie. And then on pound Swiss, that's actually, we've got the clearest signal of anybody yet, although it's not yet confirmed. I have to wait for the close. So I'm going to start with pound yen, then I'm going to move over to pound Swiss and look at those buys. And then I'm going to look at the pound Aussie and pound Kiwi and see what those sells are actually looking like. And then, of course, I'll come back to pound dollar, depending on where it ends up, because again, you know, it's rallying now, but that's because we're at support inside of the spinning top boundary. Okay. And so, you know, again, I've got resistance there that I'm watching, so I want to see how the market interacts. Anyway, enough talking. Let me go into pound Swiss. Right. So on pound Swiss, okay, we've got this unfulfilled sub 38.2% to the downside. The capitals are down with a maximum 50% retracement. If you take a look at where we are currently, we're actually at a pretty decent level of support here as well. Well, support becoming resistance, right? So past support, past resistance here, right? Past resistance became support. Now that we've broken back below, it's become resistance again. Let's clear all of this up. Let me just clean this up here. Okay. Right, now, in terms of the buy signal, right, the potential buy signal, it looks to have happened now off of this previous candle. But take a look. You see that little bit of price rejection there? That worries me. However, the beauty about this strategy, of course, is that I'm placing pending orders. I'm not usually, I'll sometimes, as you see, I'll sometimes take an order at market, but most of the time, a majority of the time, I'm actually placing pending orders. So the beauty of that is, of course, that what I'm doing is I'm clearing resistance, right? Because I'm raising this 10 pips, which obviously is a big clearance of resistance here. It's actually a clearance of all of this resistance from the look of it. And then I'm going to drop this 10 pips for my stop. Now, 25 and 5, so I've got 20 pips in risk here, which means I should be going after 30 in reward, so I should be going for 1965. 1965, which is just there. 1965. So that's ultimately, that's the play right there. If it does in fact happen, that's the play. Okay. Now again, like I said, you know, of course I'm worried about that resistance there. However, you know, by placing the order away from market and not just jumping right in, I'm giving a little bit of leeway there. I'm giving the market some room to actually break through resistance to solidify the buy. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and set this up. Just bear with me while I do, and then I'm going to go over to pound yen as well. Okay, I've gone ahead and placed that pending order. and we'll see what happens. I have to now wait. Okay, on pound yen, I mentioned there's also a potential buy signal here. And now in this particular case, okay, in this particular case with pound yen, capitals are down, subs are up, but in this case we have well more than a 382. We actually have almost a 61.8%, which technically is still a 50% retracement inside of the subs. And so with that, hey, good morning, Richard. Good morning, Richard and or Lewis. How are you, my friends? Hey, Oliver, good morning. Good morning and welcome. Right, so with regard to pound yen, right, so we have the subs up, but we have a maximum 50% retracement here, which means ultimately I do have a target, a sub target at 137.04. And essentially all that's doing is just calling for a deeper retracement. Now there's one problem here, and of course, you know, here again, we're staring resistance right in the face. I mean, we're looking right at resistance here and, you know, just staring it right in the face. Now, the signal itself does appear to be a buy signal appearing, all right? It does appear to be forming a buy signal. It is in the buy zone in terms of the MACD, and then out in the field, I mean, it's crossing into the buy zone. It's in the process of crossing into the buy zone, which is a good thing. All good things for a potential setup. I also have a counter trend line break here as well. So all good things for a potential buy, all good signs for a potential buy. And then of course, you know, because I'm only taking advantage of short-term volatility injection here by way of the opening of London, you know, the big directional moves don't really matter much to me. I'm only looking to get in and get out quickly for a nice little profit, just scalping, right? And so 132.34, going to raise it up to 44. And then I'm going to drop this down to 05, 132.05. And so, of course, that's, what is that, 39 pips? Hold on, I need more coffee. Let me double check this. Yep, 39 pips. I was right, but I still need more coffee. And 132.44. So I'm looking at 133.02 for a potential target. 133.02, roundabout 133.02 ish. All right, for a potential target there. Okay, and so here again, I mean, you know, I've got a couple of little, you know, resistance levels along the way, particularly this one here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 tests of it, 4 highs that were created. I'm not too concerned about that, though, to be fair. Because, I mean, if you look at the price action here, we've got this new higher low. So I anticipate the market will rally to these highs, take them out, give me a new higher high, and then come back to give me a new low, higher low, and then continue. So I'm not too concerned. I am going to go ahead and place this one as well. And this one, like I said, was 39 pips in risk. So just bear with me 1 second while I get this set up my end. Hey, Darren, good morning. Good morning, my friend. All right, pound yen, 39 pips. Okay. There we have it. So I've gone ahead and placed that pending order as well. So that's pound Swiss and pound yen so far this morning that I have now placed. Now, the only other clear signals that are already signals at this point are going to be pound New Zealand and pound dollar. So I want to take a look at those next. I'm going to go to pound dollar first because it looks a bit cleaner, but then I will come back to pound New Zealand. I'm potentially interested in pound Aussie as well, but I'll get back to that. I'll tell you why I'm not like overly excited about pound Aussie and why I'm going to come back to it. So let me jump over to pound dollar quickly first and just see where the signal actually is. Okay, so inside of the spinning top boundary, sure enough, there we are coming right up to resistance. I anticipate a bit of a fight between the bulls and the bears right here at resistance. It's also a break of this counter trend line, which is also the top of our flagpole pennant here. So I'm anticipating a little bit of a struggle right in this zone. The signal itself occurred off of this previous candle, and it is in fact a previous candle. It is in fact a signal. Of course, it's a previous candle. It is in fact a signal that's occurred off of this previous candle. And so I'm going to go ahead and measure this out and see what I'm looking at here. So of course, 10 pips above. Again, you know, one of the beauties here is that I'm giving the market extra room. I'm allowing it, excuse me, I'm allowing it to break past resistance before taking me in. I'm not just jumping right in, right? And so 75. Right, so what is that? 33 pips in risk, 2308 and 2275. Yeah, 33 pips in risk. Means I should be going after 49 in reward. So 2357 is where I'm going to look to target, round about 2357. And sure enough, there you go. See the price rejection already right at this level? So it's either going to do one of two things. It's going to, you know, pull back a little bit and then give me a nice big breakout and take me in, or it's just going to get, you know, remain stuck inside of this spinning top boundary and just go sideways for a bit. Two options there, two possible outcomes there. So we'll see what happens. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Pound dollar, the 33 pips in risk. I'm going to go ahead and set this one up as well. Okay, so pound dollar, hold on. There we go. There we have it. So I've placed that one now as well. So this half of the screen, I have now placed my pending orders, right? The buy half of the screen, I've now placed my pending orders. Now I need to place some pending sells, right? Because I've got a sell signal on pound Kiwi, potential one setting up on pound Aussie, and certainly a potential one setting up on pound CAD as well. So pound Kiwi, let's go ahead and take a look. Now, first of all, with pound Kiwi, okay, with pound Kiwi, there's a nice, and I mean really nice, head and shoulders pattern forming here. Potential head and shoulders pattern. Excuse me. Can everybody see it? There it is right there. There's my neckline. That's what I'm looking at. There's my neckline. And we've got left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And that's a big old distance. This guy's got a long neck here, right? So that's a big old distance between the head and the neckline, which means this is likely going to be on a sell for a little while, right? That's usually what this means. It's likely going to be on a sell for a little while now. So the question is, to where can I target this? And of course, from the break of the neckline, it's still inside of the AB boundary from the look of it, right? Still inside of the AB boundary, but it looks as though ultimately the market's going to try to make a play back to support. At least that's what this head and shoulders pattern is telling us, or trying to tell us. It's a bearish head and shoulders pattern. And so I'm going to keep an eye on this level, round about 20104. Okay, remember that level, 20104, because I reckon the market's likely going to try to make a go for it. And so I want to monitor that over the coming days and just see what happens. Now, as far as this morning's opportunity, potential opportunity, I've got a counter trend line break right in here that was caused by a bearish engulfing, and the signal actually took a couple more candles to catch up here, but ultimately the signal has occurred off of this bearish engulfing right here. And let me just make sure this is snapped correctly. Okay, so 56,20556 for my potential entry. And I'm just going to get rid of this head and shoulders for now so I can see this easier. 15 pips above, so 20588, 20603. $47 in risk on this one. Which means I should be going after 70 in reward, which means 20485. 20485. Okay, there it is right there. $47 in risk. This is the pound New Zealand. Right. Now we're getting a pullback here right at the neckline, right? So you got support. So I'm calling that neckline pretty darn well there, because you can see the pullback starting to occur. I've also got another smaller little head and shoulders in here too, actually, with a left shoulder head and a right shoulder. Smaller little one in there. In any event, right at the neckline, it's pulling back. And so, getting the pullback, the signal's still there though. So I am going to look to set this one up as well. And so this is a pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand. And I've gone ahead and placed that pending order now as well. Now, in terms of the pound dollar, take a look at that. Look at that. I said one of two options here, right? Either A, market's going to pull back and break out in a big way, or B, it's just going to get caught inside of the spinning top boundary. Right now, it's still too soon to tell, simply for the fact that this could just be a pullback, and then we get the big, the big break. Alternatively, this also could just be a sign that the market's going to stay inside the range. Just don't know that yet. Okay. Right. So I've got pound yen, pound dollar, pound Swiss, and pound Kiwi all in place now. In terms of pound CAD, so pound Aussie ended up not giving me anything at all. So I don't trust pound Aussie this morning. I'm not even going to bother with it. Pound CAD, okay, has now given off a sell signal, and the sell signal is off of this previous candle. So I do want to go ahead and set this one up as well before I move on. Well, then once I've set this one in place, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the euros. I want to see what the euros are up to this morning. All right, put this down. All right, so I've got 7488 and 7448. That's of course 40 pips in risk, which means I should be targeting 60 in reward. In 7388, where I would be targeting here. 7388. Just there. Now, I said here as well, I've got to be cautious because I have support by way of this uptrend line. This, what we're seeing currently, I think that's just a pullback, right? We've broken the aggressive inner counter trend line. And so naturally, the market's coming back for a test. That's normal, right? That's normal. And so I am going to go ahead and set this up. And again, the beauty of this is it's a pending order, right? So I'm not committing to anything. I'm just placing a trap, basically, right? I'm essentially setting a trap. If we're, spotting bears in the woods, right? We don't want to just jump out in plain sight and scream our heads off at the first sighting of a bear, right? We want to set the trap and then let the bear come to us. Kind of a fitting analogy considering it's a sell signal as well. But actually, hold on, because actually, before I actually set this up, that signal on the MACD, take a look. It was crossing before. It's now no longer crossing. So that's actually not a valid signal anymore. So what I need to do is I need to wait. I need to wait and come back and check on this and see if I do, in fact, get a sell signal back in play here. Okay. So with that, let me go move over to the euros. Let's take a look at the euros. And Darren says Euro Swiss looks like a counter trend line break, could happen, but it looks like a new uptrend. I can't tell if it's still just a downtrend retracement. Okay, let's take a look. Let's have a look together. Euro Swiss. I don't have a Euro Swiss open. Okay, so let me just scan through here quickly, Darren, and then I'll come back and take a look at the Euro Swiss, okay? I just want to give a real quick scan through on my main euro pairs that I'm normally looking at, and then I'll take a look at that. To be honest with you, there's not much to look at on the euros. I mean, the signals are a little bit all over the place from the look of it, except for EuroCAD. Actually, EuroCAD looks like a pretty decent sell signal. So I'm going to have a look at that. Excuse me. Euro dollar looks like a pretty nice buy signal, which of course is in line with what the pound dollar is doing. Euro NZD looks very similar to the pound NZD. Same thing with with Euro Aussie and pound Aussie. Okay, they typically will move pretty similarly as well. So Euro JPY is on an existing sell signal, as is Euro GBP. Euro dollar is on a buy signal now, and Euro CAD does have a sell. Of course, just like what we saw with pound CAD, it's pulling back, right? It's pulling back for the test. And if you look just very quickly, because I just want to show you this, if you look at pound CAD, right, where's the market gone to? It's gone literally right to the backside of the broken counter trend line. Let me actually change the color here to keep consistent with my colors. Okay, market's gone right to the backside of the broken counter trend line, and it's already starting to find a bit of resistance in there. So gotta wait and see what happens. All right, anyway, back to the Euro CAD. That is a sell signal, but we see, something very, very similar is happening here. And of course, if we get closer, right, you can see that's also an aggressive counter trendline break on EuroCAD. Except this one's really aggressive. Okay, we've also got resistance right here. And the thing is, we've also got support though, right here as well. So we've got support and resistance. Right, let's take a look. Let me see. Okay, so I've got a maximum. This is actually needs to be updated because this was previously a maximum 38.2. Market's actually fallen deeper than that. It's given me a maximum 50% retracement. So my target ultimately is still up at 160.69, 160.69. And I just want to come in here and clean up some of these unnecessary lines here. Excuse me, no longer needed. Okay, so of course another cause for concern, past resistance becoming future support. And right here, right as I'm looking at a buy signal, of course I'm also looking at support. I'm looking support straight in the face, right, by way of this uptrend line here. Broken uptrend line, but still an uptrend line. It's still valid. All right, so kind of staring support right in the face there. So that being said, though, the signal itself actually has occurred off of this bearish doji, interestingly. So the pullback is huge here, considering the size of the signal candle. 22, so it's going to put me at 37, 54.37 for a potential stop. But if you notice, it's big for the size of the signal candle, but ultimately, what we're really looking at here is this engulfing bear, in which case the test is proportionate, right? The test of the bear here is proportionate to the size of the bear. It wouldn't be proportionate if this were, an engulfing bull, and then this were the bullish, bearish doji, and then that was the size of the test. That wouldn't be proportionate. But the fact that we have this big, large engulfing bear first means that we then get this doji, but this test again is proportionate to the size of the bear. Right. So 54.37 and 54.02. That's 35 in risk. I should be going after at least 52 in reward, and that's going to put me at 53.49 for a potential target here. 53.49. There's also something else I just want to point out quickly here. And that is, of course, this previous range. Right at the backside of this previous range, okay, right at the backside of support of the previous range, what are we looking at? Well, of course, we're looking at resistance, right? Looking at resistance. So this is one of two things happening here. Either A, it's just a pullback at resistance, a flag pull is actually also present here. Right, so it's just a pullback at resistance, or B, could actually be a valid sell signal. Right, there's my flag pull essentially right there. I also need to come in here with a counter trend line, in which case I can also see some support, of course. And then my inner counter trend line is going to be right in here. Okay, and so there's the break. Right there, there's the break. So you can actually see where this is pulling back to as well, right? There's the test. Look, came right back to the backside of the broken inner counter trend line here, which of course would be resistance, right? Came right to the backside there. Whoops, wrong line. We go right to the backside, and you do see a bit of price rejection coming into play. As a matter of fact, it ended with a whole bunch of price rejection there. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up. I do like the look of this. This is EuroCAD. And this was, what did I say in risk? 32? 32. 32 in risk. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up. Oh, and I've been taken in on all my buy signals on my pound, all my pending buys on my pound crosses are all now in. They are live and active. So this is EuroCAD. Let me go ahead and set this one up as well. EuroCAD. The stop at 154.37 and a take profit round about 153.49, thereabouts. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, so I've gone ahead and placed that pending order there on EuroCAD. Okay, and like I said, Euro GBP is on an existing sell signal. It is selling off, but we're also right at support. We may be running out of steam there. I'm not going to waste too much time with Euro GBP this morning. What I will do is I'll take a look at Euro Swiss for you, Darren. So let's go ahead and open up Euro Swiss. And I'll just take a quick look. Okay, it looks like Pound New Zealand's lighting up in green at me. Possibly going to take me in pretty soon. Okay, Euro Swiss. There she is, Euro Swiss. Let's take a look. Now you can see it's been a little while since I've had a look at Euro Swiss. That's because I don't normally cover Euro Swiss as part of, you know, my normal morning routine, but I have no problem covering it for you. And actually, this gives me a good starting point here. Let me just double check something. Come on. All right, let me try. I'm going to try refreshing this page. See what happens. Right, so pound New Zealand dipped down and immediately shot back up. Immediately. No time wasted with New Zealand. But it's okay. Elsewhere, things are going pretty nicely. Need to watch pound New Zealand. Need to watch this. That pullback might not necessarily be over with just yet. Yeah, that might pop me pound New Zealand. It might. Not sure, but it might. Right. Has this reloaded? Look at that there, and it did, and it kind of slapped the Euro Swiss away. All right, let's try that again. So the first thing I want to do, of course, is I want to move this trend line, because obviously it needs updating at this point. There we are. Okay, and then I just want to see, because these were my fibs previously, and I mean, ultimately, this came back to an 86% and then rallied up to the 118, so it gave me that last fulfillment, but then it came down and took it out. So I'm going to start these fibs actually from here, from this high, because what this is of course, this is a King's Crown. It's a bearish King's Crown. Okay, perfect. So less than a 236, and the market falls and continues to fall down to the 2.618, where it then gives me the fulfillment I'm looking for. So this, of course, is my new A to B. Yep, perfect. Again, 23.6, so super shallow, one toe in the water. And in this case, I'm going to need to mark my 2.618. So I'm just going to drop that in there and then find the price point, which is 10338. Excuse me, 10338. I'm also going to mark, while I'm at it, I'm also going to mark off this high right here as the deepest point of retracement inside the boundary, because then I know that's my A. Okay, so this is actually, I'm still in this ABCD swing right here. This is the current one. Okay, this is the current one right here. So I've got less than a 38.2, which means I have upside potential back all the way to 10787. 10787. And this, of course, is my unfulfilled 38.2% retracement. These guys can go now, no longer needed. None of these are needed any longer. Right. And so down here at current market, okay, I've also got some subs that I need to spread. So those are my capitals. So now I need to come in here with my subs and see where my subs are. So ultimately, I mean, you know, we had a whole bunch of little small reversals in here as the market bounced around back and forth. Then we got this nice big move here that finally gave a clearly defined move, and then of course that was taken out as well. So what I want to do is I want to see this big move, and I just want to see, yeah, so just as I thought, right? So 10665 is the one to beat, and sure enough, there it was beaten. So this is my reason I'm doing that is, of course, to find my sub AB boundary, and this is my sub AB boundary right here. Okay, 86% retracement. There it is, like clockwork. 118, the extension. Beautiful, beautiful move. Okay, 118, just like so. Another 23.6%, super shallow, one toe in the water. Market comes back in though for a, by the time it was all said and done, it was a deep 69.4%. So I'm looking for the low right around the 144. So I'm actually going to mark the level off, make it easier, make life easier. Okay, so here's the AB boundary right here. Market gives me a deep 23.6, but not quite a 38.2, and then comes back in, gives me the 38.2, which then of course means my target is down at the 1618, which it does fulfill for me right down here. Come on. I can sense Oliver laughing in the background because he knows how much I hate the magnet tool. He knows what a love-hate relationship I have with that darn magnet tool. Okay, so it looks like pound New Zealand popped me. I'm just seeing on my platform here. No big deal. Everything else is still in from the look of it, and I'm close to being taken in on EuroCAD as well. Okay, so there's my D. Right, so then I get a deep 61.8. So here's the thing, Darren. So my target here, and let me just verify that this is in fact still a 61.8. I believe it is. 0622. Oh, no, sorry. It's not. It's actually a 69.4. So actually, my target is right down here at 10506. 105.06. That's my target. And I'll tell you what, I'm coming up right to resistance here. Right to resistance. I'm in the range now. Problem is I'm kind of caught inside of the X, right? So I have resistance up here to the north, but then I've also got support to contend with right in here. Now my aggressive in a trend line has been broken as well. There's my aggressive in a trend line right there. But of course we know, the market tends to like to move to the next trend line, which we're already on approach for. So that's the only concern I would say. But ultimately, I mean, I'm bearish on this down to 105.06. I am bearish on this down to 105.06. We just have a good bit of support in the way or on the way, right? Okay, Euro CAD, exactly as I said. Take a look. Came back to the backside of that broken counter trend line and has since continued to fall. I'm actually come back over to the pound crosses here. So as you can see, pound New Zealand popped me. No big deal. It's potentially changing the signal as well, though. That's the thing. So if it does in fact change the signal, then I'm going to be interested. Pound Aussie now also moving to a buy signal, which again is, that's a lot more appealing when we're in the buy zone on the MACD than, of course, the sell signal was, right? Now I'm right near my capital A boundary. At this point, I'm looking at a deep 86% pullback here, which is typical because if you look at what happened up here, I mean, we ended up, with the formation of this up AB boundary, right? What did we get? We had a double top form. That's why I have this marked off here, right? We had a double top form. And ever since, the market has really, just been trading well below that, right? Well below. But we're still in an uptrend as far as our fibs are concerned, as far as our capital fibs are concerned, right? And so I could potentially be getting a buy signal here. I don't quite have it yet. I have it on the MACD. The MACD is calling it already off of this candle. But out in the field, I don't quite have it yet. So I need to give it one more candle. And then when I give it that one more candle, if I get the buy signal out in the field, then I'm going to look to take advantage out in the field. Okay. And then as far as the pound CAD, you see something here. Yeah, so as far as the pound CAD is concerned, I never did set up the pending sell, but I think I might now at this point, now that the test has concluded. And, upon testing, we saw the market come back, tried to test the backside of this trend line, and ultimately what happened? It found resistance and left us with a dark cloud cover in its wake, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and set this one up as well. This is the last one that I'm going to be setting up. Now, again, though, I do have to be very cautious with support here. The good news is my pending entry is down below support, but only just, right? So there is a risk there, of course, that, I get taken in and then support kicks in and pushes it back on me a bit. So I just have to be careful of that. But, I do like the sell signal. I am going to go ahead and set it up. And then, like I said, as far as pound Aussie is concerned, getting a buy signal, I'm going to look to potentially set that up. I just need to wait for the outcome out in the field. I need to see what happens out in the field. In terms of the MACD is already there, right? MACD is already there. MACD is not wasting any time. Yeah. Okay. We'll take a quick look at Euro, Aussie, Richard and or Lewis. You got it. By the way, who is it in here? Is it Richard or Lewis? So I can stop saying Richard and or Lewis. Euro Aussie. Let me go ahead and take a quick look at Euro Aussie for you. Mentioned earlier, I'm not, particularly thrilled with Euro Aussie. As far as the signal goes this morning. However, what I do see here on this 15-minute time frame is I do see a King's Crown formation. Right? We have a bearish King's Crown formation because here the A was taken out. And so my new AB boundary is actually going to be from here, from this high, down to this low right here. Come on. Stinking thing. There we go. Right. So there's my new bearish King's Crown AB boundary. It means, of course, I've got an unfulfilled 38.2% now up at 108. Sorry, 18089, not 108, 18089. So unfulfilled 38.2%. There we go, 18089. So there's plenty of upside opportunity here. The other thing that I'm seeing is that we are inside of this range. Right, so we do have a range going on here. Can you see it? Support, 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 resistance, 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 resistance. Can you see that? And so, we are range bound on Euro Aussie. That'll be why the signal's all over the place as well. That's why I said earlier, that I'm not particularly interested in Euro Aussie this morning, and so wasn't even going to waste time. But this helps to clarify exactly why that is, right? It helps to clarify why the signal's all over the map. We are very range bound, and at the moment we're on approach from resistance back down to support. Okay, and so as long as we're still inside of this range, then I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to look to buy support and sell resistance, right? Buy support, sell resistance, buy support, sell resistance. So at the moment, I'm more favoring a sell signal. Should a sell signal occur? And we're actually on an existing sell signal right now, but I'm only favoring that back down to support, at which point I would then be looking for a buying opportunity. Ultimately, though, I do think there's upside potential here up to 1.8089. Okay, 1.8089 ultimately. Right, with that being said, everybody, unfortunately, we are all out of time this morning. So I want to thank you all for joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. I hope everyone is doing well, staying safe, excuse me, staying healthy out there in these crazy times. I will see you all again on Friday. I've still not yet made the decision as to whether or not I'm going to go back into the office just for Friday. I will be making the decision, though. I, of course, will let you know by tomorrow. Either way, though, I'll see you then, okay? Until then, to your health, wealth, and happiness always, this is Christopher Guzman signing out. and saying good day. Oh, and by the way, I've been taken in on EuroCAD now as well. Just FYI. EuroCAD, where are you? There you are. This is now taking me in. So I'm going to be very, very cautious because I'm right at support. Anyway, right. That being said, have a lovely, lovely day. And I will see you all Friday. Once again, to your health, wealth, and happiness always, Christopher Guzman signing out and saying good day. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.